What? Wait, what? Wait, stop. What?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
still
wait,
cold.
it's May. Like,
Yeah.
huh?
This year it was extra cold, like usually in April. It starts getting warmer. Like the last 2 years, I've started swimming either in April and sometimes in March.
Oh my goodness, I am
But
so
it's
jealous.
cold. It's super
Mm,
cold though. It's like
mm.
ice cubes cold. I am that kind of person where it's like if I have the sun hitting me for like 2 to 3 hours, like marinating, I need to swim. I need to wake me up from the depression of the winter.
It's been like finally warm here, but I don't think that many people will be, unless, they surf or something. They have like this tradition here, actually. It's called opening of the ocean. I don't quite know when it is. I think it's July. People go officially start swimming for like 2 weeks before it starts getting cold again. It's insane. We used to need to like bundle up in November, but not anymore. Traditionally, summery things were only done in the span of probably mid to late July to August in Japan. Keep seeing your guitar behind you. I was like, we could do it like properly. And I was like, no, with our mouths, just on the open. Your
Wait.
guitar. Oh no, oh no. It's like, refocus.
I was wondering if you have anything that helps you make your life feel better when it's not. Make it colorful again.
Mine are probably a lot more sort of not obvious, but like cliche, I guess. Taking yourself out of your current or like your everyday, like doing things that are not normal, acting as if, since we're already on like this crazy phase in this episode today, of like almost acting like your like day to day as a movie
Mm.
to the extent of like being like, oh, what would I do if this was recorded but without it sounding weird, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
like
yeah.
what other choices that my character would make if this
Mm.
were to be a
Yeah.
movie, or if this were to be like an interesting conversation I actually had yesterday with a couple of artists or creators based in Tokyo, was especially because we're not based in Japan long. We weren't from Japan. So we were having this quite interesting conversation about how sometimes we just like stop in our tracks and we go, hang on, I'm in like the middle of Tokyo. It's one
Yeah.
of the most exciting cities in the world. It's almost like a reality check, but in a good way.
Mm.
Not in like a, like a survival sort of way.
Yeah.
But it's like moments like that where you go, I'm doing okay. Like I'm doing fine. And yeah, every single other thing might be falling apart, but
I'm in Tokyo.
yeah, I'm in Tokyo. I'm walking the streets of Tokyo. Like, surely it can't be that bad, right?
Yeah.
It is, but just finding those like, sort of like wins, those moments are like very important, especially if you're like an artist who creates on their own, who does their own thing. It's finding those sort of like micro moments in life that lead to you being able to romanticize your life or the situation that you're in, and it sort of grows into this bigger thing that you are able to then hopefully create art from and create inspiration from, rinse and repeat and keep doing it, which is essentially
Yeah.
what we need to do as artists, and it's basically the hardest thing. How about you?
I resonate so much. Finding the magic in the mundane life, in the
Mm-hmm.
daily small moments, and those
Mm-hmm.
realizations that we usually were very passive. As you say, I'm in Tokyo, I say I always dreamt of like being somewhere where there is nature. Right now I am in nature and I keep forgetting that I can just go out and take
Quickly.
some breath and be like, life's okay again. I love that part also about like living in a movie. There's a specific moment that I think most of us have like maybe as a core memory when we were
Mm.
like kids and we were in a car and outside it's raining. We're listening to a sad song where like suddenly the main character in a drama,
100%.
that but positive.
Yeah, yeah. We need that though. All of us, I think, whether or not
Mm,
you are an artist, I think it's something that is, it's an easy way to find the important things in life as
mm.
well and to not miss, just to get used to things. Definitely agree.
what you said earlier, it sounds like breaking the matrix. There is a theory that this is a game, just one of the
100%.
many theories. I'm putting
Yeah.
my foil hat right now.
Love it, love it.
Even if it's not true, like cosplaying like this is a game, something I do is like for each season of my life, I'm like saying this is that kind of arc.
Oh,
Chapters, instead of feeling, oh, now this is a depressive state of my life, I'm like, this is a phoenix moment of my life. I'm going
love it,
to
love it.
rise with the ashes on the next chapter. But now it's that challenge on the hero's journey.
I love the Phoenix theory though, because it just proves you might be going through like this momentary phase of looking absolutely ugly and feeling it as well. But just wait for it, because trust me, it's gonna be painful. You'll die, but you'll come back. Like, you know, yeah, exactly. Love that. I think I need to embrace that in me as well. So thank you.
It's so hard to create a different structure and way of thinking and way of seeing things when society is the completely opposite of that and our conditioning is
Mm.
opposite of that. I think it also relates to chronically cubed, like our whole concept, how we're trying to break free from that chronically cubed conditioning and having to be someone specific.
Definitely agree. I think there's a lot of, and we put it on ourselves more than anything, more than other people do. But when we like decide to call ourselves artists, a lot of us go through this sort of like not even identity crisis, but there's like a gap between who we are, who we want to be, who we think we should be, and who we actually are. And it's like pinballing, like that's not even a word, but you know,
No,
like
I like
back
it.
and forth and sideways between those things. So we're like none of them, but all of them at the same time. And it's friggin' exhausting, but it's also kind of fun. But trying to find your identity and trying to find like who you are through that can get very lonely and very confusing, and it's like all the emotions in one. We keep forgetting that that's the whole point. That's actually what it is, right? We need to keep finding the joy, and yes, in order to do so, 90% of the time it's going to be us being delusional.
I love the direction. I think there's this trend of what delusion means, and I think delusion is very subjective. I think it connects to everything we said, what works for
Yeah.
other people, and how
Mm-hmm.
others perceive something, something to be considered, and see what we can get from that. But especially when we're artists and we're trying to find our identity, it's so easy to fall into the trap of I don't know who I am, so I need to try what everyone says that works. That's also very exhausting. When you overload yourself with all these false layers, you get tired and you're like, fuck this. At some point, because of the tiredness and acceptance starts to grow around that,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
The
go
real
ahead, Megan.
delusion for me, trying to live on a outdated societal system that is truly delusion, like or trying to fit, especially for neurodivergent people. We can't fit. It's only damaging us. Trying to make an effort after constantly trying to be accepted as a part of the
Mm.
society in a specific way, to just slowly be like, okay, I kinda like me, or I'm kinda starting to like me. It's not like we can change bodies or whatever. We have to gradually come to an acceptance. That's how we start finding the right people, I think,
Mm.
also. And
I
the
agree, I agree.
loneliness, yeah, loneliness is always going to exist, especially in that
Mm.
context that we're talking about. But finding the right people, it can be one or two. It
Mm.
doesn't have to be a whole lot, but that makes a ton of difference.
Yeah, I agree. Because like in this day and age, especially right now with sort of like social media, like we talk a lot about social media and stuff, but it's all about numbers right now. How many views you can get, how many followers you can get, how many impressions you can get. It's all about these numbers, but it's not though. It's literally about the human to human contact. That's always been the case. Yet for some reason, we've gone on this really weird journey as a society of what is acceptable and what is success, to the point where it's like it doesn't even make sense anymore. To get like 200 people to see your art is insane. It's like the most exciting thing that I could ever imagine, having 200 people see something that I created. Yet we keep going on about how, 200 jail and like 300 jail. And if your posts aren't getting like at least 1,000 views for each and every single one, then you're doing something wrong. No, you're not. If anything, it's the opposite, because it just means that you're not creating anything. The person scrolling by might like it, but that doesn't mean that they're your fan. It doesn't mean that they enjoy or appreciate you as a person. They might, some of them might, and some of them will, but not all of them do. So it's like coming to that realization, now that I have that information, what do I do? So it's hard and there's no right or wrong way, but still everyone is measures you on. So it's like this sort of weird juxtaposition of being like, oh, I don't want it, but I want it and I need it, with all the contradictions today. As you can tell, I keep coming back to them.
It connects a lot to intentionality, and I love that shift of mindset. If in this room there were those 200 people, even if we weren't talking with them or they weren't raising anything, it would even be overwhelming, to be honest. So it really helps. And because like socials, there is so much noise. Yeah, being intentional and like sitting with ourselves. Okay, let's be real now. Do I really need this? Or is it an artificial need that is helping someone else and not myself?
Yeah, you just need to keep having those conversations with the people who sort of like align with you, I guess. And this is like in no ways me putting people down that want to be big and famous and want more views. Wanting that with intention is definitely valuable and it's needed. It is. But when you're a solo artist creating art on your own, doing everything, there's only so much you can expect of yourself and of the people around you as well. It's not readjusting to the reality or anything, because things could change overnight. Being clear on what you want, like we started the conversation on like romanticizing, but it is. It's sort of like, where do I want to be? And sort of like finding a way to get there.
Everything we said still aligns to romanticizing in a way, but not in the bad way, in the trying to disconnect from reality. I will just share a personal example. I've always had trouble with sharing myself, to not have a very curated image. And because of the overthinking, I was just going months away from socials. What helped me this year, I think I kind of started romanticizing as other people I'm seeing that I wouldn't like trying to shrink themselves because I love what they're saying. I also deserve to have the space, even if it's not related, and even if it's chaotic, even if it's like 100 different fragments of myself. Some resonate with some with others, and some like not at all. But that's still okay. It's like exposure therapy.
Yeah.
Right?
We keep
Romanticizing
coming back to
exposure.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that I have to keep reminding myself of, especially as we like started this podcast, I was having like a similar conversation with my therapist like a couple of months ago. And she was like, you know what, Kay, you probably need to hear this. You're probably not going to like it, but you probably need to hear it. You keep like waiting for yourself to be ready to do things, like 100% ready. But guess what? Even if you were to get to that hypothetical 100%, that where you're like 100% happy with something you've created and you're just ready to put it out, and you put it out, it's still only going to be someone's 20%. It's like, holy fuck. Like, yes, it's like so obvious, but so true. And she was like, to someone else's eyes, it's still only going to be a 20% or less, maybe. So it's like,
to someone else is going to be 100 though, or like even better.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, why bother waiting? And I was like, oh. So that's kind of where I was just like, you know what, fuck it. Yeah, it's not going to be perfect. We aren't going to have, the best podcast set up to start off with, maybe even like for the first year. Neither of us are going to be happy with what we are producing, what we're creating, but at least we're going to be doing it, and we're going to be doing it every week, and we have someone to be accountable with. We'll just keep doing it, and until otherwise, until we decide we don't want to do it, or we find something else to do.
I love therapists who are so real. That's
She's so
how you
real.
know you have a good therapist. One of the reasons we started this podcast is because we have similar fears and we're helping each other with that. All this process, the behind the scenes organization, everything, we're very early. I feel like we both have grown so much. We have faced so many fears already. No matter the difficulties, it's so exciting to see where we will be in some months. It's not about the final result always. It's about I am doing the 1% better each day. So another point around just posting that art or that thought, or even with our podcast, things we think we're not ready. You remember those photo albums we used to have? We have literal all the memories and all the progress to see, especially in like difficult moments. Going back and seeing this thing is like so helpful. It's like filling me with strength. It's canceling those silly thoughts.
I definitely agree. Something I keep coming back to through this process of working with you is that quote, if you want to go far, go with someone. If you want to go fast, go on your own. But the going with someone, I think, especially as you mentioned earlier as well, if you're neurodivergent, if you have like doubts, if you have things that are lacking inside, you are able to find someone who has the things that you're missing, or align in the sense that you both are missing those similar things or are struggling with similar things. Finding that someone and going with them is so much fun.
Yeah.
And it makes it, again, more romantic, bringing it back to that core theme of today's chat. Yeah, it just makes it so much more fun. And I am enjoying this so much more than I thought. It would just be scary. Like, it would just be like horrific. But yes, that fear is there, but it's not as centered as I thought it would be. And it's way more fun, way more exciting, way more sort of like, oh, we should do this and do that. And we keep like bouncing like 100 ideas off each other. And we're like, okay, let's come down. We'll just take it one week at a time. We're just gonna take it baby steps. So that's what I really love. And I'm romanticizing my life through doing this podcast, I think.
You really said everything I'm feeling as well. And it's like so touching as well. Like you melted my heart with what you said. We have similar fears again, but we also are very good at so many multiple things. We help each other be on track and to also cancel each other's negative thoughts. We see one of us overthinking, and even though the other one is also overthinking, we're like, we know the pattern, right? Because it's within ourselves. We're like, okay, let's go back and chill now. It's cool. So it's a wonderful synergy of two people.
I love it. With that said, I think this conversation has been really, really exciting. I love what we're creating. I love what we're building. It's for the long run, and I think that's what is amazing about it. And as you mentioned, looking back on all these talks and all these moments that we have is going to be so much fun for us as well, and hopefully for the people watching. So I love to keep this conversation going and to sort of see it evolve as well. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye.